Okay, so for anyone who is not aware, this is WoWclassic.plus. This was created by Jordy and Only, and this is pretty much a place where everyone can, you know, give ideas for Classic Plus, vote on them. It's pretty interactive. Like if you come up to the top and you click content, right, and we click on the world, and we click on zones, right? Like let's click into the Arathi Highlands. Okay, we're going to go to Arathi, and we could see ideas that people have created here, right? The Arathi Lowlands zone, people are saying they want a zone here. A raid, updated Stromgarde Keep. Battle for Stromgarde Dungeon. We can click on that, see their description of it, and we could thumbs up it or thumbs down it. Now, this literally, you can go anywhere in the world and see what people are saying to do, you know, for that zone, which is pretty cool. Here we have the player portion. And obviously we could vote on anything to do with like races, factions, classes, professions, all of that good stuff. Really cool stuff to like read through and upvote if you like it, downvote it. Very cool as well. And then systems, right? All the systems within the game, right? Achievements and things like that. All of this stuff you can upvote, downvote. There is so much already put on here. So, you know, anyone who has an interest in Classic Plus, there is no way that Blizzard is not looking at this, right? Like they absolutely are looking at this. So if you want to get involved in it, I definitely would go check it out. You link your Discord to it and you kind of like level up and stuff on here while participating in the website. You know, it's all completely free. You don't have to pay to do this or anything like that. There's also a Discord if you want to join the Discord. We're going to take the intro survey, right? There's a bunch of surveys we could take. For this video, we're going to take the intro survey. So it says, get started with the intro survey. We'll ask some basic demographic questions to better understand who you are, then dive into your thoughts about the fundamentals and philosophy of Classic Plus. So let's start this survey. Hey there, thanks for taking the time to do our Classic Plus intro survey. We think this will be a great place to get the community's initial thoughts on the features and ideas you'll all be discussing. We'll be asking you questions in 4 sections: demographics, server game settings, in-game systems, the world, and the player. Most questions are optional. However, the first handful are required so we can gather demographic data. Which faction do you usually play? Alliance, absolutely. Which race would you consider your main? Human. Or you can pick multiple. So I would say human, night elf, undead, and orc if I do play horde. What class do you consider your main? Feel free to pick multiple. That would probably be warrior, rogue, and hunter. How old are you? 31 to 36. How often do you play WoW each week? I play a lot of WoW. What is your experience with the various iterations of vanilla / classic World of Warcraft? Check all that apply. I've played 04, played a little bit of private servers, not a lot. Did play Season of Mastery, played Classic Anniversary, played Season of Discovery, played 2019 launch. And we played pretty much everything. So this is saying that you've never played vanilla. That's not me. What role do you usually play? I usually play DPS. Region, NA. Which of the following labels describe you? Choose as many as you feel accurate. A hardcore raider, casual raider, PvP player, leveler, auction house gamer, transmog hunter, completionist. I would say that I'm either a casual raider, sometimes hardcore raider, and a PvP player. And sometimes leveler. I do enjoy leveling early on. How likely are you to play Classic Plus? I can't wait to log in. Absolutely. Would you pay a box fee for Classic Plus? If so, how much? No, if it costs more than just my active sub, I won't play. Depends on what is shown / promised. $20, $40, $60. I would put, honestly, for this, I really don't see anything wrong with paying a box fee for something that's worth it. So I would put depends on what is shown / promised. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you feel about Classic Plus if they changed how the game looked via Unreal Engine-esque graphics, lighting, polygon count, etc.? No. I'd want to keep the graphics closer to 2004. Maybe a 4 here. Like, I'm down with lighting changes and stuff, but definitely not polygon count. That would change the feel of the game, and we all know it'll start to look like a Disney game, right? So we're not gonna go further than that. This, I wish I could put like other, like maybe 3. Really, I just would like better lighting would make it be sick, right? Modern WoW character models? No. Touch the models and I quit. That's our answers for that one. Modern WoW character animations? I guess I would be kind of in the middle on this. Maybe even less, like 3. Like, that's where you, like, see how it says at 10, bouncing dwarves are rad? That's what starts to happen when we get into that, right? And I really don't want to I don't know. I'm not look. I don't. I feel like this opens a can of worms that we can't close, right? And that could be a problem. Modern WoW spell effects. Sure, yeah, we could amp those up. I'd go in the middle on that one. Modern WoW UI, right in the middle. How would you like Blizzard to handle the server rollout? So the options are many servers at launch, some PvP, some PvE, a couple RP, basically like vanilla classic. A condensed server list like SOD with consolidation happening over time. 1 mega PvP with faction balance enforced, and 1 mega PvE server with no faction balance enforcement. I would say this is probably the best option, because the next one says only 1 mega server that lets players opt in and out of world PvP in safe zones, towns, war mode. That doesn't sound like classic in my opinion. I think that this whole, what they've pretty much done in Anniversary with the 1 mega PvP, 1 mega PvE server has worked really well. And that's because of that faction balance, right? Being enforced. I think that's a good thing. So we'll do that. We'll do 1 mega PvP server, 1 mega PvE server, and faction balance enforcement on the PvP server. How would you feel if Classic Plus had an element of seasonal servers resetting every couple of years? Depends on a lot of factors, not sure. Yes, fresh is the best part of the game, no opinion. I would say yes, fresh is the best part of the game, with the assumption that your main character is on a main portion of the game that never gets reset, right? Like how RuneScape does the league system. If they implemented that, and you could earn stuff that then gets transferred to your main character, which is still progressing with future updates in that version of the game that's permanent, absolutely. How would you feel about layers in Classic Plus? Layers are fine. I know a lot of people are against them, but the game really would be unplayable without layers, let's be real. Should the size of raids be reduced from 40? Yes. Reduce the required raid size, but implement flex rating so we can bring more players and the challenge stays the same. Reduce required raid size to 20 and allow me to bring more than 20 if I want it in like in SOD. Reduce raid size and no flexibility. I honestly think this is probably the correct option to keep it feeling like classic. As much as I want to say flex rating would be good, I think it would be fine with just like 20 or 25 man raids and 10 man raids. Should Dungeon Finder be implemented? Yes, but only to group you. It's still up to you to travel to the dungeon. Absolutely. Nothing wrong with it helping you find a group, but you're still traveling to get there, and that's important. Should summoning stones outside of dungeons and raids be implemented? Yes. Should there be heroic dungeons? Maybe. Depends on how they implement them would be my answer here. Should there be rated PvE in Classic Plus, like Mythic Plus, Mage Tower, Prestige levels, level 60 rating leaderboards, etc.? Honestly, I don't really see what's wrong with that. I think it would add a lot more than just raid logging to the game, so why not, right? And then the next question is, should there be rated PvP in Classic Plus? Rated battlegrounds, arenas, dueling leaderboards, etc.? Absolutely. Should AoE looting be implemented? No. I don't think anyone really gives a shit about looting. To be honest, I don't see it as that big of a problem. What features of world buffs would you want to see in Classic Plus? Check all that apply. World buffs don't belong in raids. Chrono Boon, non-dispellable, alternative sources of world buffs, like purchasable ones like in SOD. Weaker world buffs, varied world buffs, no changes to the vanilla world buff system. I don't think the SOD world buff system was the answer. It was kind of silly, to be honest. It was way too arcadey for like a permanent version of the game. I really think that the Chrono Boon system, if there's going to be world buffs, is the way to go. And also non-dispellable, because that's cringe. That's so cringe. How would you feel if Classic Plus lower the CD? What do you mean by lower the CD? Like, you can't just repeatedly pop them? Yeah, I mean, that could work too. Oh, lower the CD of Boon. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I feel like the SOD way, it was cool because it was a super seasonal thing. But if it's a permanent version of the game, I enjoy getting world buffs. Like, I feel like it's like a little thing that you have to do to... It's like raid prep every week, and it's kind of nice. I am never someone who has minded getting them. Since Chrono Boon's been in the game. It was a real nightmare before Chrono Boon, but if Chrono Boon is in, put Chrono Boon in and get rid of the hour-long cooldown. Absolutely. Get rid of it. How would I feel if Classic Plus trimmed the capabilities of add-ons and weak auras? I'd be happy to see them go. I'll be real with you guys. Cheesebags knows, we've been fighting with LVY for the past week. And to be honest, if it wasn't an option anymore, it would bother me so much less if I knew everyone had the same UI. I really think that it gets to a point where add-ons and weak auras kind of make it really hard for them to design the game Like they're designing the game based around the standard UI and stuff, and people are using weak auras and add-ons and things that make the game extremely trivial, right? So imagine like having to raid without DBM. It would feel so much more, I guess, immersive is the word I would put to it, and it would force people to learn better. So I'd be fine with them getting rid of add-ons and weak auras if it's for everybody, right? Should mount level requirements be lowered? No, keep mounts the same level requirement. Yes, let people. Yeah, no, I would say keep it the same. Should flying mounts be implemented? I don't think so. No. Should guild banks be implemented? Yes. No, but no downside to that really. Should Classic Plus have achievements? I don't see why not. Right? If it's a permanent version of the game, people love farming that stuff. Should reputations be streamlined and made easier to level? No. I think that if we're talking about a permanent version of WoW that's going to be consistently getting updates over time, I don't really think anything else, like something like this, needs to be streamlined. Like maybe better flight paths and stuff like that, sure. But why do we need to streamline reputation grinds and all this? People have literally forever to do it, right? So I don't think that needs to be made easier. How do you feel about adding transmog to Classic Plus? Transmog bad. Should a separated collections inventory be implemented like toys and mounts? Yeah, I don't see why not. Should Classic Plus allow GDKPs? See, this is a tricky one, and I wish there was a box where I could type in here, right? Because you guys know that I'm extremely pro GDKP. Only issue is, I'll be honest with you guys, I've been really enjoying playing Anniversary, right now. And not like I don't have the option to GDKP, so I'm doing whatever I can to make gold. I love GDKPs, don't get me wrong, but I would be fine with them not allowing GDKPs in Classic Plus as long as boosting is banned on day one. However, recently they reverted the boosting ban. That boosting is not bannable, right? As far as I know, it's very hard to understand their posts. So if boosting is not banned, people are just going to buy gold to boost and buy gold to buy raid consumes anyway. Whereas if GDKPs were in the game, yeah, maybe those people would still buy gold, but they probably buy it once, right? They buy gold once, and then they raid on all their alts in GDKPs and earn gold that way. So it actually, in my opinion, contributes to less gold buying than boosting. People constantly buy gold to boost, constantly buy gold for consumes, right? We saw it on Anniversary. Flasks being 500 gold was insane. So I would say that GDKPs should be allowed, and this answer is based off of how it is right now. With boosting in the game, yes, I think GDKP should be in the game. If boosting was banned, I would say no. If boosting and GDKP can be banned right off the rip together, there's way less incentive to buy gold. The only incentive is for raid consumes, right? So I would say that yes, if boosting is allowed, then yes, GDKP should be allowed. If they're getting rid of boosting, then I would say no, GDKP shouldn't be allowed. Should the level cap ever be increased from 60? I don't know. I would have to see. I mean, it depends on how long after launch, I guess this would be the right answer. I want to say no. Because then we're kind of just opening the same door. I would say no, actually. Because we're opening the exact same door. Right? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. It's kind of hard, right? Because then where do they go after like years? If we want it to keep being developed. I don't know. Should Classic Plus have new zones? Yes, please. Of course. If yes, where in Azeroth or beyond would you be okay with these zones being? Only on the main two continents, anywhere on Azeroth, and or other planet/dimensions like Outland, Draenor, Argus, Koresh. I honestly think that this should be anywhere on Azeroth. Not just the only the two continents, right? There's so much more that can go on with just Azeroth. I think it's important maybe to keep it there. Once you start leaving Azeroth, you're now into like expansion territory, right? Should new content be added for leveling? Opening a can of worms with that one? Yeah, but Northrend is Azeroth, right? Pandas. Yeah, Pudding. That's what I'm thinking too with that. Like, if you never go past level 60, there's going to be like, when you initially hit level 60, there's like raid tier 1. And then 5 years from now, there's like raid tier 15. So like that gear difference. Yeah, that's a tricky one to kind of figure out. Like, you probably have to go past level 60 eventually. But I feel like only on the main 2 continents or anywhere on Azeroth. I don't know. I really don't know for this one. I want to say anywhere on Azeroth, right? Because that opens up like Northrend possibilities and all that kind of stuff. Just do a squish every 5 phases. Yeah, I guess that's possible too. I want to be like, I'm going to put only on main 2 continents. I feel like less is more with this, right? Because I do feel like Blizzard's going to take what you give them. Like, they'll, you know, you give an inch, they'll take a mile, right? So if we say only main 2 continents, that will then end up being this answer, in my opinion. Add beta dungeons and catch up for the first 3 phases. Yeah, that's a one way they could do it for sure. Should new content be added for leveling quests, low level zones, dungeons? Of course, yeah. Should leveling be sped up? No, I think the leveling pace is fine. I mean, like, nothing should be sped up. Anything that's asking for speeding up for a permanent version of the game, I think, is silly. If anything, it should be the same, if not slower. Should there be more class-specific quests? Yes. But only to unlock ability spells like Warlock Demons or Priest Racials. Yeah, I think keeping certain things class-specific is really cool. Should there be more epic quest lines like Rockdalar, Scepter of the... Yes. Why not? That stuff makes it epic. Rockdalar is one of the most fun quest lines I ever did the first time I did it. Which of the following best describes how you'd like to see changes in Classic Plus to old raids? I prefer the old raids exactly how they were. Easy. Tune them needed for any change in player power, but keep the spirit of the original raid. Add more complex, difficult mechanics similar to Season of Mastery or Discovery for a fresh challenge. Do all of the above, plus add new bosses and areas within them. I honestly would say that, right? I think we've done these old raids enough to the point where, like, I really enjoyed the changes in the SOD raids. I did not enjoy, like, the fire resistance, the heat levels in Molten Core. I really, really enjoyed BWL, the trials. That was awesome. The Naxx hard modes were awesome. The only problem I feel with this is that it does open up that door of borrowed power like we got in Naxx, and that really bothered me. I know it didn't bother everyone, but it really, really was terrible to me. Going from doing crazy DPS in Naxx down to doing like a quarter of that DPS when you first walked in Scarlet Enclave felt really weird to me. So I don't really know. Honestly, I would be fine with them tuning it as needed just to adapt to the player power, whatever power level we're at, but keep the spirit of the original raid. I mean, I'd really be happy with any of these. I think I'm going to go with that one, though. That makes more sense to me for Classic Plus. Should there be new raids? Yes, but only stuff that already exists in the original Azeroth, Karazhan, Grim Batal. Yes, propose raids that already exist in the world, plus create some new interesting content like Scarlet Enclave. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. Jeez, I agree with that. That's what I'm saying. That opens the door for weird stuff, though. Like, I think if they make it in the spirit of the classic raids, like with the mindset of it's going to be fairly easy, right? Like Naxx is not like the way that I think the raids should be scaled in difficulty is to your gear. I don't think they need to be crazy hard, right? Like the player base that's playing classic WoW, 90% of them won't be able to do the content if they do that. So I think that keeping the spirit of the original raids, but tuning it to a point where like it's a gear check, I think that's fine for Classic, to be honest. I don't think any of this stuff needs to be hard for it to be a good game. And for this one, I'd say add as many new raids, dungeons, all that stuff as possible. I don't see any reason to not do that. Let's move on to the player section. Should Classic Plus have new playable races? And if so, which of the following categories would be acceptable? Check all that apply. Any races from future WoW expansions, new playable races that already exist in Azeroth, completely new races never seen in Azeroth, no new races, keep it the original 8. I would say new races are, I don't know. This opens a door too, man. There's like a door that once we step through this door, there's no closing it. And that's why I feel like being really, really light on this kind of stuff. Like, we don't need new races, right? Like realistically. just want extra content. Switch up the classes a little bit. I would say no new races. Keep the original 8. You don't need new races. The second you start seeing like new races running around, it immediately isn't going to feel like class. It's just going to feel like a new expansion. Like you're going down the same retail path, but I don't know. Should Classic Plus have new classes? Yes, but only classes added in other WoW expansions. Death Knight, Monk, Demon Hunter, Evoker. Yeah, the ones we've seen, but also completely new classes we've never seen in WoW before. I don't know. These classes to me would not work in Classic, right? Like these are just straight up hero classes. Like if you think about vanilla WoW, your hero, like the mage is technically considered the hero class of WoW, right? Everyone says the hero class because everything they can do with AoE and all this other stuff. But technically the hero classes were supposed to be like Shaman and Paladin, right? This is like pushing the boundaries of Classic, in my opinion. Death Knight is ridiculous. Everyone will just be a Death Knight. Monk, Demon Hunter, Evoker. Like, think about the mobility and stuff that these classes have. And just the OP, like, way that these classes perform. I don't think so. I don't think it should have new classes. I don't think so, Big Billy. Were Demon Hunters on the original vanilla box art? I'm not sure. Let's look. Original vanilla WoW box art. What are they? I think right there. You're talking about right there, right? Right here? That is a Demon Hunter with a Warglaive. You're right. Oh. Yeah, I mean... I got you. Billy, hold on. There you go. You got 60 seconds. You could post the link. Yeah, I mean, they were there, but I don't know. That, again, something like this, bro, like, opening the door to new classes, man, in vanilla is like... I'm telling you, with this kind of stuff, they are looking at this. They are absolutely looking at this. I want you guys to know that. They haven't said that, but they are. And I think being a lot more reserved with this stuff, conservative, I guess, is better. Because they're going to go past that. So if you open the door to them putting in Death Knights, Monks, Demon Hunters, Evokers, it's not going to look like Classic WoW anymore. And we're just doing the same cycle again and going to move in another crazy direction. We have to keep this contained, right? Should new race class combos be added? This I don't think is an issue. Yes, but only stuff within the lore that makes sense and keeps factions and races feeling unique. Absolutely yes for this. Like, humans should definitely be able to be hunters, probably even shamans, right? Like, humans are shamans in real life. Humans should be able to be shamans. There's so many different things here. Like, undead absolutely should be able to be a hunter, right? I think that makes sense. I don't think that, like, this is not as bad as doing classes, right? This is just, you know, you're opening up a little bit new combinations for like class, like racials combinations, I guess, like that. But this wouldn't bother me at all if this was put in the game. Hey, what's up, Evan? Undead Paladin? See, okay, well, let's get to the next question. Should the Horde have Paladins and the Alliance have Shamans? I don't think so at all. I think this should be specific. I think that Horde should have Shamans and, you know, Alliance should have Paladins. And the reason for this is in Anniversary, the past, like, couple weeks I've been PvPing. I was talking about this the other night. Like, I was, like, really appreciating, since I've been PvPing so much, like, how awesome it is, how good of a job, like, the original Blizzard devs did with designing, like, the Alliance PvP gear and the Horde PvP gear. Like, it really looks like Horde and it really looks like Alliance, right? Like, when you see all the Alliance in, like, their PvP gear, they look like the Alliance. Everything's, like, shiny and gold and all this stuff. And then you see the Horde and everything's, like, spiky and, like, flames and all that. I think that's really important to have that distinction and uniqueness for each side. So, in my opinion, keep Paladins on Alliance and keep Shamans on Horde. I do not think that Paladins should be on the Horde and Alliance should have Shamans. I don't think so at all. Should classes be reworked? New base abilities, spells, class role combinations, etc. So this, I would say like a light, like yes to some extent, right? Let's read through the choices. No, vanilla classes have distinct class fantasies and make each playthrough unique. Some quality of life adds like totemic recall, projection, warlock summoning gate, combo point persistence would be nice, but don't fix what ain't broke. Some new spells that modernize ability rotations like Red Paladin just don't completely change them. I think this would be my answer with it. Not yes, go crazy with it. Absolutely not. Some new spells that modernize ability rotations, for example, Red Paladin, just don't completely change them. I think this is a door that is going to be rough to open because they're going to go crazy with it. I don't think it should be anything near what SOD was in terms of speed, but I do think modernizing some of the classes, as long as it keeps their distinct class fantasies intact, that is a very important part. Like I really, really do. I'm bored of not having Wind Fury or Paladin buffs. I get that, Ron, but like if you want Wind Fury and you want to blast and you don't want to have salve and you want to like take that gamble and go and raid as a warrior and zug your heart out, you're not going to have salve. Like that's the trade-off. If you want to go on the Alliance, like here's like, you got to realize what I'm thinking of in my head, right? On Alliance, you have Paladins, you have Salvation. That fits like the class fantasy, the lore. The Alliance is going like the safer route in raid. You can pump harder. It just doesn't look as crazy. You could pump harder because you have salve, right? You're not ripping threat. You go on Horde, they're like zugging, okay? You're getting Wind Fury, you're going in as a warrior, you're blasting, you're ripping threat, and you're dying. Like, I think those are like distinct things to each faction. Like, that's how I feel. I don't think that stuff should be crossed in a Classic Plus world. It's just like, and this like new spells and stuff, if we're talking like, yeah, give Red Paladins like Crusader Strike, like how they are in TBC, no problem, because every class still has that fantasy, you know, their unique class fantasy in TBC. Anything further than that, if we get into Wrath territory, I don't think that belongs in Classic Plus at all. Do I think that the devs had, do I agree with this? Classic was perfect because the devs got lucky. Do you think the devs had finished their plans, no TBC, but they kept adding new patches? Would Classic still be good? No, I don't think they got lucky. I think that the game was fantastic. I mean, the game, here's the thing. A lot of people are burnt out on Classic. But you guys got to realize, Classic WoW was so incredibly good that it's 2026 and there's still over 1 million people playing Classic WoW and paying $15 a month to do it. Right? Exactly. And you came from like Warcraft 2, Warcraft 3. I never played the first one, but I played Warcraft 2 and Warcraft 3 very little bit. I was young. But to go from that to seeing that world come to life and walk around in it, you know, in like a 3-dimensional environment, insane. I don't think they got lucky at all. I think they crafted up just a brilliant, beautiful game at the time, to the point where the game is so good. As much as like we all talk shit about all this stuff or burnt out, whatever, the game is so good, man, that it's 2026 and literally millions of people are still playing this game and paying every month to play it. It's that good. I don't think it was luck at all, you know? Of the following, what is the most important change needed to raid buffs in Classic Plus? You may want to pick multiple, but only pick your biggest concern. This question refers to 1-hour-long buffs, not Paladin Blessings. We'll ask about raid buffs more later. Raid buffs should cost less mana. Raid buffs should no longer require reagents. Raid buffs should be single cast raid-wide. Raid buffs should be combined so multiple classes can buff different things, like in Wrath of the Lich King. Leave it as it was in vanilla. No, I think leave it as it is in vanilla. I don't know. I've been playing Paladin and buffing Greater Blessings on the entire raid. Okay, so you blow your whole mana bar and you have to sit down and drink. I think that's still that's classic feeling. I don't think it's terrible. I don't think we need to make this more streamlined and modern and faster. I think that's again opening that door of like too much quickness, too much everything. Once you make everything faster, it has less impact. Should talent specializations be reworked? No. Somewhat, but only with a light touch. Absolutely, I want to see reworks across the board. I would say somewhat with a light touch, right? More like the TBC route, I think is fine. Should a 4th new talent specialization be added for classes like Guardian Druid, Tank Shaman, etc.? That's kind of weird. No, I don't like that. I mean, the Guardian Druid thing is kind of weird to me because like Druids are already tanks. Right? They could already tank. Like maybe if they're doing slight retouch to the talents, they don't need another entire spec. And same for Shaman. right? I feel like that's like kind of the classic way, is like finagling your talents to be able to tank as a druid or to be able to tank as a shaman. So I would say no new talent specs. Just rework the talent build so that they have to build accordingly if they want it to be a tank shaman. I have no issue with like tank shamans in the game, guardian druids, but make it so that it's just part of their build and they have to spec into that. I think tank shamans absolutely should be in the game. A fourth spec allows for hero class specs. Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking too. So hard no on that. Should every specialization be competitive in both PvE and PvP? No, absolutely not. I don't even need to read this, but we will. Yes, every spec should be viable in all scenarios. That's retail, so absolutely not. Not in most cases, but vanilla hybrid classes don't perform well in PvE outside of healing. Those classes could use a bit of love. No, not every spec needs to be perfectly raid/PvP viable. Overtuning for PvE balance could break PvP and vice versa. And the reason I'm selecting this, you know, it's a perfect example of this. SOD. SOD PvP sucked literally because of that. So that is my answer. No, not every spec needs to be perfectly raid/PvP viable. Overtuning for PvE balance could break PvP and vice versa. I don't think every single spec for every class needs to be viable in both portions of the game. Just doesn't make sense. Should dual spec be implemented? Absolutely. Should new professions be added? Yes, new professions sound awesome. Like the woodcutting? Come on. Lumberjacking? Absolutely, man. Should professions be updated to have more endgame relevance? New recipes, etc.? Yeah, absolutely. I don't see any reason to not do that. And that's the end of the intro survey, I guess, here. I think we're good. Submit. Boom. We did it. And look, there's so many surveys we could do, man.